Hey, this is Jamey with Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk to you about some of my favorite mechanisms in Air, Land, and Sea, a two-player game by Arcane Wonders. And designer, John Perry. Sometimes I forget to mention that. Often I forget to mention that, but I should mention that more often. This is an awesome game. I really, really enjoyed this game. One of my favorite two-player games is Hanami Koji, and this reminds me a lot of that, but it does some different things that I really enjoy. Similar to Hanami Koji, one of my favorite things is that you are playing cards to have a tug of war between different areas, so air, land, and sea. And so you have these different cards around the table. You're trying to have higher numbers on your side of each of these, what are they called, theaters, than the other player at the end of the round. And so if I have control based on those numbers of land and air, even if my opponent has a control of sea, I win because I've won 2 out of the 3 theaters that round. I love tug-of-war games. I really, really do. I like that the push and pull back and forth, and it's not all of a sudden. It's not like instantly I win something. It's that we're pulling back and forth and slowly kind of wresting control, losing control over the course of a round. I really like that. I also really like, and it's kind of similar to Hanami Koji, that the cards match up with these theaters. So, for example, here's the super battleship. This is a battleship. It must be played in the sea because this is a battleship. And so your choice in the game is typically, unless a card says otherwise, it's typically not where am I going to play the card, but when am I going to play it? Because you start each round with 6 cards. And so you're kind of deciding in what order am I going to play these cards. So I like that I think this is a clever thing in design that they didn't give you the entire choice of where to play them. Instead, it's the choice of when to play them. I really, really like that. The last thing that I think is just... Oh, actually, one other thing. I like that all the cards have a 2 on the back of them. So say this card is worth 3 if I play it face up, but you always have the option of playing cards face down. So I can play this face down, which does 2 things. 1, it's worth 2 if it remains face down. And 2, it allows me to be a little sneaky because there are some cards that let me flip over cards. And when you flip over cards, you can ignore the theater restriction. So I could play very powerful. I could play that battleship in the land section and then flip it over using another card if there's a card that says I can flip it over. I really like that little sneaky element. Reminds me a little bit of Jolly and Roger, another two-player tug-of-war game in a way. The last thing that I think is just brilliant about this game, you may have seen this in the Shut Up and Sit Down video about this game, is that you have the option at any time to concede the round. And I think this is key in this game because there's a single deck of cards. At the beginning of each round, you shuffle this up and you deal out 6 cards to each player. And the cards are numbered 1 through 6. The abilities get stronger the lower the number, but there may be a time where you look at your hand and maybe you look at the board state and you just say, I know I can't win this round. I know I can't. And so you can choose to concede as the first or second player. Either way, you get the same number of points. So if I've played a few cards, I have 3 cards left in hand, and I say, I really just don't think I can win this, I can concede at that time and give the opposing player 3 out of the 12 points they need to win the game. However, I could also keep on going. I could inevitably lose that round, or maybe come back and pull out a win, but possibly lose if I think I'm going to lose. And if I lose with 0 or 1 cards left in hand, I lose, or I give 6 points to the opponent. The opponent gains 6 points. I love that this game is essentially saying, okay, we understand that there are times where you're going to have a hand that just doesn't work, that just isn't the greatest, or isn't going to work with the game state. And the game gives you a key choice as to, you can just back out of that round. You don't have to lose the full 6 points. You can lose fewer points than that if you'd like. I love that. That is brilliant. I love this. I mean, this is a way to balance a game, especially a 2-player game like this, especially a tug-of-war game. It all fits well into this game in particular. But this is a really, really clever way to balance a game with random card draw by giving players the option to opt out of the turn, opt out of the round, and not be punished for it as much as if they played out the whole round. Really, really clever. I loved my first play. This is all from the first play of the game. I can't wait to play again, Air, Land, and Sea. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these mechanisms if you've played this game or if you've played similar games to it, whether they're tug-of-war games, games where you get to play cards face down, or games, if there's any other game that has a withdrawal mechanism. I said concede, but a withdrawal mechanism. I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. Thanks.